Select transmission.
Turbo Outrun was actually an upgrade for the original Outrun arcade game. The upgrade kit came with new decals for the cabinet and a new PCB that would attach to the expansion port on the original Outrun. Even though this is an upgrade, it sure looks far worse than the original. Gone are the smooth looking graphics and in come choppy blocky graphics that cram up the screen so much that it's hard to tell what's going on. The handling also seems worse thanks to the many objects all over the road, making your car jump, skid and slide. The biggest flaw with Turbo Outrun is the lack of course choices. In the original game, you could choose either the left or right path at the end of the stage. However, in Turbo Outrun, it's just one massive 16 stage haul. You do get the chance to upgrade your car at the end of each stage, but it seems more of an afterthought than anything game changing. The turbo button is a nice feature, but really, it just makes you feel like you're playing Chase HQ.
Very good. Refit your car. High power engine. Good luck.
Not surprisingly, the FM Towns version of Turbo Outrun is the best home version available, but even then it's severely cut from the arcade original. For an FM Towns game it looks okay. I mean, it could look a lot better. There's an awful lot of objects missing from the side of the road, but at least it's smooth. One very poor feature about this game is the transition between screens. So on the arcade game, when you go from one stage to another, it sort of fades between them, but on the FM Towns version, it just sort of blanks the screen for a few frames and then suddenly you're on a new course. Very cheaply done, but that's CRI for you, who are masters at making cheap ports. Now while the Mega Drive version of Turbo Outrun looks maybe reasonable for the system, it actually plays really poorly. The main problem with this game is the handling and the braking system. The handling seems to be very unresponsive. You can be pushing left and right and the car won't move too much and then suddenly it will dart right across the road. The brakes on the other hand are either on or off. It's very difficult to slow your car down. A very poor conversion which could have been a lot better. The DOS version of Turbo Outrun actually moves very smoothly, but it doesn't feel like Turbo Outrun. Sure, you got the red car which is meant to be a Ferrari F40, you've got the turbos, and the scenery sort of resembles the arcade game, but it doesn't play anything like the arcade machine. The only plus side this version's got going for it is the smoothness. Now surprisingly, the Commodore 64 version of Turbo Outrun is actually pretty good, especially for the Commodore 64, and it's got some amazing music. Just check out the end credits music to this very show to hear what the C64 can do. Now while the other home versions were programmed by ICE, this Commodore 64 version was programmed by Probe Software. Now Probe Software are not exactly the best programming house in the world, in fact I don't have much respect for them. But compared to the other versions of Outrun for home computers, this is not too bad. Unfortunately, all home versions of Outrun have you push up on the joystick to make the car accelerate, which is really stupid because trying to push up and turn the car at the same time is not the most comfortable thing to do in the world. And yes, you've guessed it, falling back is the brake. But saying that, this Commodore 64 game is quite fun. So if you're a fan of Battle of the Ports, you may have well seen the Amiga version of Outrun. Well, that was pretty awful. And it's no surprise that this version of Turbo Outrun is also pretty awful. But at least it does have some nice roadside objects, even if it does run at 15 frames a second. Control wise, it's not too bad. I mean, it doesn't control as well as the arcade. The graphics are okay as you can see, but the thing that really kills this port is the frame rate. It's just too low. So as you can see, the Atari ST version of Turbo Outrun runs just as jerkily as the Amiga, or maybe slightly smoother but not by much. Graphically it looks pretty much the same. Although I do think the music in this Atari ST version is actually slightly better. It doesn't sound as grating on the ear. So the Amstrad CPC version of Turbo Outrun is actually quite colourful, which is nice to see on the Amstrad system. Unfortunately, it's as slow as can be, and as a result, it's not much fun to play. Nice to look at, but that's about it. so as you'd expect, the ZX Spectrum port of patron is pretty much monochrome. But saying that, it does move quite smoothly for the Spectrum. In fact, I think it moves smoother than the Amiga and Atari ST versions. Playability wise, it's not too bad. The game controls well enough, there's sort of a sense of speed in there, and as I said, for the Spectrum game, it's pretty reasonable.